Hi students, welcome to Expert Guidance and I welcome you to another video of our GCSE Maths. And in this video, we'll be covering the topic of factors, multiples, prime, and then how to find the highest common factor and least common multiple. Now, this is a very important topic of the numbers unit, and it is the basis of other chapters like fractions, algebraic fractions, linear equations that involve fraction, because until and unless you do not find the LCM, you cannot proceed with those questions. And to find the least common multiple, you should know what are factors, what are multiples, what are prime factors, prime numbers, square numbers, so that you can use them to find the highest common factor and least common multiple. So first we'll be learning what are these terms and how do you work out the factors, multiples, prime numbers, and square numbers. So let's start with factors. Now factors are any two whole numbers that can multiply to get a given number, then those two numbers will be the factors of that number. For example, let's start with 12. Let's start what are the factors of 12. So we'll start with 1. Now 1 times 12 is 12. 2 times 6 is 12. Then we'll start with 3. 3 times 4 is 12. Then we try to proceed with 4, but 4 is already here, so we'll stop. So what we'll do is we try to break up these numbers by doing 1 times, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, and we'll keep on doing until and unless we get a repeated number. Once we get a repeated number, we stop, and all these numbers will turn out to be the factors. So the factors of 12 will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12. So again, what you need to do, you need to work out the whole numbers that times to give the given number. And you'll start with 1, 2, 3, 4, and carry on until you get a repeated number. And then all these numbers you get here will be the factors of that number. I hope that is clear to you. Let's do one more practice. Let's try to work out the factors of 20. As I told you, we'll start with number 1. So how will you get 20? So 1 times 20 is 20. Now let's start with 2. What times 2 gives 20? Yes, that's right. 2 times 10 is 20. Now 3 cannot divide 20, so we'll not take 3. Let's start with 4. 4 times what number gives 20? 5. Now the next number is 5, but 5 is already there. So now we will stop doing this. And all these numbers will now be the factors of 20. So what are the factors of 20? 1, 2, 4, 5, 10, and 20. Okay, so I hope what factors are and how you work out the factors is clear to you. Now let's move on to multiples. Now multiple of any number will be all the numbers that comes in that times table or the number you get by multiplying that number with any whole number. So for example, if I say work out the multiples of 10, then you start timesing this number 10 with the whole number. So 10 times 1, 10. 10 times 2, 20. 10 times 3, 30. 10 times 4, 40. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and so on will be the multiples of 10. Or you can say all these numbers comes in the times tables of 10. Okay, so the simple exercise is multiply that given number with any whole number and try to use first 5 whole numbers so that you can get the first 5 multiples. So here is a question. Write the multiples of 6. So we'll start timesing 6 with the whole number. So 6 times 1 is 6. 6 times 2 is 12. 6 times 3 is 18. 6 times 4 is 24. So the 6, 12, 18, 24 are the multiples of 6. Okay, so I hope how to work out the multiples is clear to you. Next is, what are prime numbers? Now, any number that can only be divided by 1 in itself are the prime numbers. So 2 can only be divided. So what are the factors of 2? 1 and 2. What are the factors of 3? Only 1 and 3. What are the factors of 5? 1 and 5. So a number that has only 2 factors, that is 1 in itself, or a number that can be divided by 1 and itself only, are all prime numbers. Okay, now what are square numbers? So any number you multiply it by itself, the number you get is a square number. So 1 times 1 is 1, so 1 is a square number. 2 times 2 is 4, 4 is a square number. 3 times 3 is 9, so 9 is a square number. 4 times 4 is 16, so 16 is a square number. Okay, so I hope this is clear to you. Now let's do this question. The number that is given to you is 50. So you have to write all the factors of 50. Now, how will you start? We'll do the same exercise. We'll start with 1. 1 times 50 is 50. Then you can divide 2 with 50, which is 2 times 25 is 50. 50 cannot be divided by 3 or 4, so will not do. Then we'll start with 5. 5 times 10 is 50. Now 6, 7, 8. All of these numbers cannot divide 50. 9 can also not divide 50. The next number will be 10, and 10 is already here, so we'll stop. So all these numbers will be the factors of 50. So 1, 2, 5, 10, 25, 50 are all the factors of 50. Okay, now let's work out the 3 multiples of 50. Now remember, I told you to get the multiples of 50, you need to multiply that number with a whole number. So 50 times 1 is 50, 50 times 2 is 100, and 50 times 3 is 150. So 50, 100, 150 are all the multiples of 50. Okay, now you have to write the prime factors of 50. Now prime factors of 50 would be 2 and 5, because these are the numbers that can be divided only by itself and 1. Okay, so this is a very important question, because in this one question they have tested your factors, multiples, prime factors. Okay, and even they can ask you write the square, a factor of 50, which is a square number. So the answer would be 25. Okay, so I hope this exercise of factors and multiples is clear to you, because you need to make sure you have understood this well. Then only you can do the next part, which is how to work out the H.C.F and L.C.M. Now let's look at one more number. Here are the list of numbers. Write down the factors of 8. Okay, so again, what is a factor of 8? Any number that can divide 8. So 2 can divide 8, so 2 is a factor. Multiple of 6, so any number that comes in a times table of 6, so that is 18, so 18 is the answer. All the prime numbers in the list, so 2, 11, 31, they have only 2 factors. One is 1 and other is a number itself. Okay, now let's look at this. Barry's thinking of a number. He says, my number is even and it is a factor of 30. Okay, and it is a multiple of 5. So first, let's just do one thing. Work out all the factors of 30. So 1 times 30 is 30. 2 times 15 is 30. Then 3 times 10 is 30. Then 4 cannot divide. 5 times 6 is 30. So now 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 10, 15, 30 are all my factors of 30. Now I need to take out the number which are even. So 2, 10, 6 and 30. So Barry is thinking of a number which is between these. But it says that there has to be a multiple of 5. So 2 does not come in 5 times table. 6 does not come in 5 times table. Only 10 comes in 5 times table. And 30 comes in 5 times table. So what are the 2 numbers that Barry is thinking of? So they are 10 and 30. Okay, so what we have done, first we have worked out the factors of 30. I've selected the even factors, and from them I worked out what are the multiples of 5. Okay, so I hope this exercise is clear to you. Now let us see how do you work out the prime factors. Now to work out the prime factor, you take a number, divide by 2 first. So 8 is 2 and 4. Now 2 is a prime factor, so you circle it. Okay, 4 is not a prime factor, but it can be written as 2 and 2. So what are all the prime factors of 8? 2, 2, 2. Similarly, 42 is 2 and 21, where 2 is a prime factor but not 21. So 21 is divided into two prime factors, 3 and 7. So 8 can be written as 2 times 2 times 2 as its prime factor, and 42 can be written as 2, 3, and 7 as its prime factor. Okay, so I hope this exercise is clear to you. Now let's use the strategy to do this question. Work out the prime factors of 140. So first I'll divide by 2. So 2 times 70 is 140, and 2 is a prime factor. I'll circle it. Now divide 70, because 70 is still not a prime factor. So if I divide 70, that will be 2 times 35. Where 2 is a prime factor, I'll circle it. But my 35 is not a prime factor. I'll further break it down. And 35 can be broken down into 7 and 5, which are a prime factor. So I'll circle them. So how 140 can be written as a prime factor? It is 2 times 2 times 7 times 5. Okay? So I hope this is clear to you. Now let's use the same strategy to do 720. So 720, I'll first divide by 2. So that gives me 360. Then divide 360 by 2, 2 and 180. I'll keep on dividing till the time I get that number which cannot be divided by 2. Then I'll start with 3, 4 and so on. 180, so I'll divide by 2. That gives me 90. Then again by 2. And that gives me 45. So now I cannot divide 45 by 2 anymore. So I'll start with 3. So 3 times 15, and 15 can be broken down into 3 times 5. So all my circle numbers are the prime factors. So 720 can be written as 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 to the power 4. And 3 times 3, which is 9, times 5. Okay, so I hope this exercise is clear to you. Okay, now we need to use this to work out the H.C.F and LCM. Now, how do you work out the H.C.F and LCM? Try to understand that. It is very simple, but you need to make sure you understand the right strategy. You will get two numbers. So first you write both the numbers in the form of their prime factors. And for that, this is how we did that. So like you get the two numbers 12 and 36. So the prime factors of 12 are 2, 2 and 3. And for 36 are 2, 2, 3 and 3. Then you make a Venn diagram and you write all the common factors in the middle. So you make a Venn diagram, dedicate this one circle to 12 and the other one to 36. Now, what are the factors which are common in both 12 and 36? That is 1, 2. So I've written 1, 2. A second 2. So I've written a second 2. A next 3. I've written a next 3. Now, which factor I'm left with? 3 of 36, so I'll write it here. This makes my Venn diagram. Now, all the numbers which comes in the middle, the common ones, will be the highest common factor. So that will be 2 times 2, 4 times 3 is 12. So highest common factor will be 12. But what will be the LCM? LCM is you multiply this whole section, and this whole section. Now, there's no number on this section, but this number is 12 and this number is 3. So 12 times 3 is 36. So 36 will be the least common multiple. Now, highest common factor, what are they? So highest common factor is a factor, highest factor, which can divide both of these numbers. And the least common multiple is that number, a smallest number, which comes in both times table. Okay, so this is a strategy to work that out. So 12 can divide both 12 and 36, and 36 is that number which comes in 12 and 36, both of their times table. Let's do another exercise. Let's try to work out the prime factors. First, let's work out the prime factors of 60 and 96. Okay, so let's start with 60. So we'll do that exercise. 60 can be broken down into 30 and 2. 30 can be broken down into 2 and 15. And 15 can be broken down into 5 and 3. Okay, now let's work out the prime factors of 96. So 96 can be broken down into 2 times 48. 48 can be broken down into 2 times 24. 24 can be broken down into 2 times 12. 12 can be broken down into 2 times 6. And then 6 can be broken down into 2 times 3. Okay, now let's write the factors. 60's factors are 2 times 2 times 5 times 3. The factors of 96 are 2, 2, 2, 2. So there are 4 2's. So 1, 2. And there's 4 more 2's. So that is extra. So we'll not write it underneath any number. And a 3. So we'll write underneath this 3. Okay, so that we know these numbers are common in both of them. Now let us make a Venn diagram. So there goes a Venn diagram. So one Venn diagram is for 60, another Venn diagram is for 96. What are my factors of 60? First, let me write the common factors. So 1, 2 is there in both of them, so I'll write in the middle. The 2 is there in both of them, so I'll write in the middle. And 1, 3 is there in both of them, so I'll write in the middle. Now for 60, I'm left with just 5. Okay. And then for 96, I'm left with 2 2's. Now, let's work out the HCF and LCM. So HCF is this common bit, so which is 2 times 2 times 3, which is 12. The LCM, or this bit, 5 times 12 times 4. Right? So that is 20. 5 times 4 is 20 times 12. So that is 240. Okay, so 240 is the least number that comes in both of these times table. And the factor, which is 12, is the least factor which divides both of these numbers. Okay, so I hope this exercise is clear to you. Now this is how you need to do these questions. So you should understand how to work out the prime factors, how to lay out these Venn diagrams. Okay, so I hope you understand this topic. Now, as always, the next step is to check the specification and make sure you have understood everything in H.C.F, LCM, and how to work out the prime factors. And you should do the exam style questions, because then only you'll come to know how well you're applying your knowledge. And all the exam questions can be found on the link below. Okay, so I hope you like this video. If you do like this video, then do subscribe to my channel. And if you still have any doubts, then you can come to my website. The link is mentioned in the description box below. And you can have all your answers, all your queries answered in 24/7 chat support, which is available on the website. Or you can join our free Facebook group, which is Get A Stars in GCSEs and A Levels in Maths and Science. And in this group, you can post any of your queries and you can get instant reply by me. Okay, so I hope you like this video. Do let me know, how did you find this topic of H.C.F and LCM, and what is the most complicated thing you're finding in maths? Do let me know in the comment section below so that I can make my next video on that. Okay, so I'll see you next in my next video. Till then, happy revising.